Talk back at sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Bill Kornblue, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
You're going to pay a lot more close attention to those. You're not going to push the envelope. You don't want guys to go over 100 pitches at this point in time with the temperatures the way that they are. You worry about how guys, they tighten up between innings, because of how cold it is.
We haven't really played well, there. So hopefully we'll be able to continue to exercise some demons we've had on the road in some places in the SEC.
Well, one thing Dawn Staley doesn't have to worry about playing indoors at Arkansas tonight is the cold temperature. They'll have 70 degrees inside the building where they're playing. They'll be fine. But as far as baseball goes, everything is, well, not everything, but pretty much everything is on hold. We come to you tonight from the brand new Springs Brook Stadium at Coastal Carolina, where there will be no baseball tomorrow. Baseball at the beach. We have come down to this event every year that it's been held, and we have been wet with perspiration. We have been blown around by the wind. We've been rained on. I think this is the first time we've been frozen out, because it is, like everywhere else around the state, very, very cold and affecting baseball, except KMAC in Columbia, where Chad Holbrook, doing his best impersonation of Ray Tanner, games will go on in Columbia, at least for now. They plan to play tomorrow.
No, they don't plan to play tomorrow.
Oh, have they called it off?
Yeah, and I asked him what he was going to do, how he adjusted because of the cold, and he hinted that he was on the fence about playing tomorrow. He wanted to talk to the Northeastern coach first. He did that, and they're going to play 2 on Saturday now. First one at 2 o'clock, second one 45 minutes after that one ends. Both will be 9 innings. They're talking about the high in Columbia tomorrow around 34 degrees. And it's just this early in the season with your pitching, it's not worth the risk, and it's going to be a little bit warmer on Saturday. Sunday it's supposed to get up to 69, but there's a chance of rain, so hopefully they'll be able to get all 3 in. Not as bad as Clemson Corn, where Doug Kingsmore Stadium apparently is an ice skating rink.
Yeah, they're going to Augusta to play Maine. Now, Maine would probably say, hey, I'm fine. Let's play on the ice. Let's play in the cold. We're the Black Bears. We're used to it. But the Tigers and the Maine team, they're going to go to Augusta and play tomorrow morning beginning at 11 o'clock. Gary Gilmore, the coach at Coastal Carolina, will join us at the bottom of the hour to talk about this beautiful new stadium that he finally has his fingers on here at Coastal Carolina, and also to talk more about baseball at the beach, where you have got a terrific field along with the Chanticleers. You've got national powers, NC State, Georgia Tech, and Florida International here, along with Albany. So it's a terrific group of baseball teams. We'll hear more from Chad Holbrook. We've got other possible guests to join us later tonight as well. Mike Kaywood, the sports information director here at Coastal, will join me as well to tell us a little bit more about the intricacies of this beautiful new ballpark on the campus at Coastal Carolina, where they continue to add to their sports area with new buildings and new developments all the time. We'll be back from Coastal and Columbia in just a moment. On Sports Talk, I know it's cold all around the state of South Carolina, but there's no better way to warm the cockles of your heart than by being tuned into Sports Talk, and we thank you for joining us wherever you happen to be. Phil Kornblut here in Conway at Coastal Carolina at Springs Brooks Stadium. This is a place that, tell you what, it seems like they were working on this thing forever. We kept waiting for this stadium to get completed here for the Chanticleers to have a beautiful new facility of their own. They're still working on it to some degree. Mike Kaywood will join us in a moment to tell us more about some of the things that make this place stand out in terms of new college baseball facilities. And let me give you the phone number, 800-956-7266 is how you can reach us. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc, website at sportstalksc.com, and on Facebook at Sports Talk Radio Network. No baseball tonight here at Baseball at the Beach, and no baseball tomorrow either because of the weather conditions. The schedule for Baseball at the Beach now is as follows. They'll play Saturday here at Coastal, Georgia Tech and Florida International at 10. At 2, it'll be Georgia Tech against Coastal, and at 6, Albany against Coastal. That's all at Springs Brooks Stadium. Then at ticketreturn.com field, Pelicans Park in Myrtle Beach, 11 o'clock on Saturday, NC State will play Albany. 4 o'clock, FIU will play NC State. Then on Sunday, here at Coastal, at 10 a.m., it's Albany against Georgia Tech, and at 2, NC State against Coastal. Over in Myrtle Beach at 10, North Carolina Central plays Florida International in a doubleheader. All right, so there you go. That is the rundown now for Baseball at the Beach. Hopefully, I know there's a chance of rain this weekend, too. That's all we need is to have some rain come flowing through here. We don't need that to continue to mess things up. The Coastal basketball team in action tonight, not too far from us, at the HTC Center, one of the other new sports buildings that they have here on campus, going for their 20th win of the season tonight. Cliff Ellis is, and they try to stay near the top of the Big South standings. Nice win by Charleston Southern last night, keeps them in a tie for first place with High Point. K-Mac, the USC women, we heard from Dawn Staley, and they'll try to stay unbeaten in the SEC tonight as they play at Arkansas.
Yeah, tough road test, 9 o'clock tip there. And then the big one looming for them, they can't peek ahead. They have Tennessee, the Vols, coming into town Monday night, another 9 o'clock tip over there at Colonial Life Arena.
Yeah. South Carolina been sailing through these SEC games since losing that game at Connecticut. And, you're right, they can't afford to look past Arkansas, especially on the road. Arkansas with a record of 5-7 in the league and 15-9 overall, 7-4 at home. USC women 12-0 in the league, 24-1 overall. So that's a 9 o'clock tip tonight out in Fayetteville. A couple of other notes from this end to pass along to you from Furman. They have a baseball tournament beginning tomorrow. They were going to play at Fleur Field in downtown Greenville, but they're moving their game tomorrow against Xavier to 5 o'clock over on the campus at Furman. So make a note of that if you're a Furman fan and you want to watch their baseball team tomorrow. Clemson, as we mentioned, their entire series. This is a first for me. I can never remember this occurring for USC or Clemson, where they're moving their entire baseball series, in this case moving it out of state. They're going to Augusta, Lake Olmsted Stadium. The Tigers will play Maine tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Saturday at 11 o'clock, and then they'll play a second game on Saturday 30 minutes after the first one is complete. And Furman has added Central Florida to the 2015 football schedule, replacing Jacksonville State. This will be a September 19th game in Orlando. What else you have, K-Mac?
A couple of other things to pass along in terms of the NBA trade deadline, and it was quiet until about 2:40, and then a flurry of action. We're not going to go through all of it. I can tell you, Corn, you have Isaiah Thomas now. Isaiah Thomas was traded today. Indiana? Reggie Jackson was traded today. All these names that mean something different to everybody than they do today. But, yeah, you now are the proud owner.
Isaiah Thomas, who played for the Pistons? That's the one I want. If I'm
you've
getting
got
Isaiah
Zeke.
Thomas,
Yeah,
that's the one I want.
yeah, you have Zeke. Yeah, he's a little old, but he can still play. He's older than your coach. But the interesting nuggets in the trade deadline, Clemson's KJ McDaniels had a short stay in Philadelphia. He's leaving the 76ers, who have one of the worst records in the NBA, and headed to Houston on a Rockets team that is trying to make a push in a very challenging Western Conference to make some noise. So he is now a Rocket, and he's got a one-year contract. I mean, this is a guy that, he's going to have to prove himself again in Houston, but he was doing very well in Philadelphia. And looking at some Philadelphia fans' response to that trade, they were not happy to see McDaniels leave town. He's the third leading scorer in terms of rookies this season, and of course has made a lot of great plays. He's a high-flying, exciting guy to watch play, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets worked into the rotation there in Houston. And former Malden High star Kevin Garnett is on his way back to Minnesota, back where it began.
He's going back to Boston?
You wish. I mean, you probably do wish. You'd be the one person that would wish that Kevin Garnett in a hot tub time machine going back to Boston, that would be fun. You get him back in
we should
1994.
Never have broken up the big three. Actually, the big four, if you throw Rondo. We could have won maybe 2 or 3 more championships.
Maybe every one of them, I'm sure. I mean, because those guys aren't 100 years old now. But anyway,
the Lakers.
He's heading back to, well, it wouldn't take much to beat the Lakers. Did nothing today, which made me very happy. I'm glad.
It's like their season.
They just need to stay. Nothing. They need to keep losing. That's very good. It is like a flashback, though. KG's going back to Minnesota. The Celtics traded Tyshawn Prince, former Kentucky standout, now longtime NBA player. He's back to Detroit. So I'm kind of going in reverse in the NBA, but those were the big trades. KJ McDaniels going to Houston and Kevin Garnett going to Minnesota from our standpoint.
All right. As far as we know, no Gamecock football players quit the team today?
Haven't seen any Gamecock football players that have quit the team today, so everything's status quo there.
That's good. That's good. I welcome in Mike Kaywood, the sports information director here at Coastal Carolina. Those of you watching our video feed, that's Mike over there. And, boy, this is a beautiful place. You guys waited a long time to get this done, but it was worth the wait.
I would say so. We were joking to say that, we really thought we'd be in here about halfway through last season. And I know they probably think that, was it worth the wait? And when you get in here and start looking around and everything, it really was worth the wait because Coach Gilmore, he's been dreaming about this for a long time, and he had a lot of things he wanted to have done in this facility, and to take that extra time to do everything right and not think like 2 years from now, like, boy, I really wish we would have done this, or I really wish we'd have done that. They just knocked it all, and excuse the pun, but they knocked it out of the park.
Knocked it out of the park. There you go. What are some of the special amenities that make this place maybe different than some other new ballparks that have been built?
Well, they went to look at a lot of high-end A-level minor league parks, and obviously some of the top college parks around, and they just kind of took and picked, from the best around there. Obviously we got the coaches' offices up here on the veranda. You got the suites, a lot of the things, but it's the underneath things. The locker room is phenomenal. It's single A, it's a AAA pro quality locker room. And there's also actually a locker room just for former players to come back and work out. Colin Herring, Ben Smith, they're all working out now before they go back to spring training. So they have their own locker down there that they can work out in. And the dugouts itself are just some of the just minor details that he thought about. You're just like, wow, this is, and obviously last weekend with the first weekend playing, just every team was just like, wow.
You had 1,700 for your first game.
1,700 is the largest on-campus crowd we ever had for a regular season game. And it was a little chilly, but people came out and braved it.
All right, hang on, Mike. We'll be right back with more from Coastal. Coming up on Sports Talk, Coastal Carolina coach Gary Gilmore, USC coach Chad Holbrook, Clemson assistant baseball coach Bradley LeCroy. All coming up on Sports Talk. We give you a heavy dose of baseball tonight. We'll talk some basketball, too. Great game last night between the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils. I'll be heading to Durham on Saturday to take in the Clemson and Duke game from Cameron. Looking forward to that. Going to head over and catch the second half of Coastal tonight as they try to go for win number 20. Back with Mike Kaywood talking about this beautiful new baseball park here at Coastal Carolina. So give me some of the particulars, the distances, and some of the nooks and crannies that the outfielders and the infielders have to deal with.
Yeah, we went with all turf on the foul territories, which it helps on rainy days just to be able to take the tarp off and not wet the field, and also to do some drills so you don't tear up the grass. But you'll see down the right field line and left field line it angles in sharply because there's going to be some grass berms there for people to sit, bring lawn chairs or whatever and sit out on that area. But not a whole lot of foul territory down towards the corners, and then around the outfield fence there's going to be a boardwalk. So you'll be able to walk around the concourse, right behind home plate, straight out to the berms, around the boardwalk, and there's going to be one continuous loop around here. We have 2,500 permanent seats right now. They think when we get everything in here, we're going to be we feel comfortable with 5,500, but we think we might be able to squeeze in 6,000.
Wow, 6,000.
Yeah.
You're thinking big. You're thinking regionals and super regionals and all that.
Yeah, and in 2010 when we hosted the regional down in Myrtle Beach, we had a huge crowd, and obviously we played South Carolina and the super regional hosted them down there. It was 6,500 down there, and from that point on, it just really was a steamroll to us having a facility on campus to match the program that we are.
Sure. What are the distances down the lines into center field?
320 down the lines, 365 in the alleys, and 390 in center. There's a 10-foot wall all the way around, but in center field it goes up to 20 feet. Gives the little batter's eye protection back there. So, but even though the wind blows out here, so you had to have a little higher fence, but we still had a few more home runs hit than we did down at the Pelicans Park.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the park, we're still facing the same direction as the old ballpark?
Nothing moved on the field. The field stayed exactly the same. They built all around it. So, yeah, where the field is exactly the way it was. Again, just put in the new foul territory turf, but nothing else moved around that. They built all the way around it.
The construction is going on now, the berms and the walk-around pathways. Will those be completed this year?
Yeah, they're saying middle of April. They'll have those completed.
Probably not much work getting done right now.
No, well, they actually did quite a bit over here.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
In this cold, they're out there working?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I was pleasantly surprised when I came out today and saw what they'd actually done over there to the berms.
And later on, you've got the Gamecocks coming, you got the Tigers coming, you got the Tar Heels coming, you got Michigan State coming, you got some big names coming here.
Yeah, that was part of the schedule with this facility. We thought we'd be able to attract a few more people. Last weekend, we brought in Maryland and Old Dominion, and we got Florida International, Georgia Tech, NC State, Michigan State. Just keep reading them all. Even Bryant, who a lot of people don't know, but they won their conference with the regional last year.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're really looking forward to those first 3 Tuesdays after these tournaments, and having North Carolina, South Carolina, Clemson, South Carolina.
All right, be right back with Coach Gilmore here on Sports Talk. And we're back. It is Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut on the road tonight following a different kind of bouncing ball, the baseball. We're down here at Coastal Carolina's new stadium, Springs Brooks Stadium, on the campus of Coastal Carolina, right across the parking lot from their beautiful football facility, and just around the other side of campus from the basketball facility, where we'll be heading over to after we're done to watch the second half of Coastal and Campbell in a Big South game. In just a moment, Coach Gary Gilmore, we are going to be hooking up with him, I do hope. Mike Kaywood is still with us, the sports information director from here at Coastal, and we're about to connect with Coach Gilmore, who's not with us physically because schedules changed and he's away from the ballpark right now. But just to bring you up to date on where things stand with Coastal, 2-2 on the season so far, with a win over Old Dominion and a win over Canisius and a loss to Western Kentucky and a loss to Canisius. That's from their tournament to open the season last weekend. And the Chanticleers, as you well know, one of the established baseball powers in the country since the 2000 and what is that? Since 2000, the make that the 9th winningest team in the country. So that says something right there. Florida State's number 1, Rice is number 2, and South Carolina's number 3, and Coastal Carolina number 9, Clemson number 14. And we welcome in the architect of all those victories, Coach Gary Gilmore. Good evening, sir. How are you? We miss you here at your ballpark.
Phil, I appreciate it. I had this is my off night. I've got my grandson, so I'm spending some time with him.
I understand. That's absolutely fine. Your 20th year at Coastal Carolina, 26th as a head coach, 1,006 wins, and I got to believe with this new ballpark, it's like maybe starting all over for you from a excitement standpoint.
Oh yeah, oh no doubt. Yeah, the enthusiasm from the players and the fans has been incredible, and we're looking to for a whole new era of coastal baseball out there at the beautiful Springs Brooks Stadium. It's gonna, when it's completely done, it should be one of the very best facilities in the entire country.
All right, as far as your team goes, looking at some of the preseason expectations, I think you were voted 3rd in the preseason Big South poll. So I got to believe that you've kind of taken that as a challenge to prove some people wrong. And do you have the kind of team to move back up and win a Big South championship?
Well, we hope so. We're not at that point right now. This is we went through a tough year last year. There's no doubt in my mind we the most talent in the league last year when we started the season, and or at least started the fall, and we lose 11 scholarship guys to injury during the year, and 7 of them never played for us. It was very difficult to live through, and to kind of a bitter pill to swallow. And we kind of where we're at right now, Phil, is we don't have a single returning starting pitcher that's got really any experience or wins under their belt to a large degree. Alex Cunningham was an outstanding freshman for half a year for us 2 years ago, and he didn't pitch the second half of that season and did not pitch all of last season. And he's our number 1 guy right now. He has outstanding stuff, but he's he just experience-wise and getting through all the ups and downs of being a Friday night starter. We're going to have to kind of ride through that, and then we just establish the number 2, 3, and 4 starters. It's going to be a season-long process for us, and hopefully we've got a lot of really good young players, and I think just in sheer ability we'll be okay. It's just they're not a lot of freshmen in the country that go out there and dominate Division I hitters and offenses and things like that, and so we're going to have some growing pains, but I do think we'll. If we can weather this early season storm of all these, high RPI, really good programs and not lose all of our confidence, if we can, just hold our own for a while and continue to get better every day, I think by midpoint of the season we'll start to turn the corner and really start to become a pretty good team.
Do you think you overscheduled early because you wanted to celebrate new facility with some big name teams to come in here? But on the flip side of that, it's going to really test your team, especially early as they try to grow up a little bit.
Well, I mean, when you make a schedule out, that it's usually 2 to 3 years out when you're doing it. I mean, you truly don't know where your team's going to be all the time. You hope you have an idea where it's going to be, and I mean, we've had more than our share of injuries in the last year and a half and stuff. So I mean, some other factors have dealt us some blows that have really kind of crippled us in some way. But for me, I want to play this kind of schedule every year, and we have. I mean, 2 years ago we had the 8th toughest schedule in the entire country in the non-conference, and this one may be one of the top 2 or 3.
As far as your everyday lineup goes, from a talent standpoint, and we know you've had some very talented everyday players over the years, and you said this is a young group. Does it have the potential to reach that point where some of the others did in previous years from some of your more successful teams?
I hope so. I mean, I think I think we have the ability to, we kind of show flashes of it, and we come and go with, at least in these first 4 games with our overall defense. And, I do think we have the ability to be one of the better defensive infields and outfields that we've had at Coastal. And, I think we're very good behind the plate. It's just going to come down to them playing together and staying healthy and trying to grow up together, basically. I mean, you got 4, 5, and 6 guys out there at times that never, the practice have never played together. So, that's all the great teams we had over the years. We were able to have guys in our program that were there 3 years at the worst, 4, and then a lot of 5-year guys. And we right now, we only have one senior, Austin Kerr, that's been in this program 4 solid years and been a contributor for 4 years. That's just kind of where we're at. It's been one thing you can put your finger on, this and that, whatever. It's the rule changes and things have made it way more difficult for programs like ours to redshirt guys and bring players along. I mean, you only get to put 27 guys on scholarship, and so every freshman you bring in, you can't afford to develop them like you think about my 2010 team that was a statistical national champion at 55-10. That had a redshirt draft pick in left field. It had a redshirt draft pick in right field. It had Tommy LaStella, a major leaguer, who was a redshirt guy at second base. We had the Johnny Bench finalist, Jose Iglesias, behind the plate, was a redshirt guy. I mean, I can go on and on. And that experience, not only just experience, but the physicalness of a 22, 23-year-old guy versus an 18-year-old kid is unbelievably different. And it's hitting us, and it's something we're trying to figure out how to ultimately deal with. But it's hitting a lot of other people as well. It's not just us. There's probably 10, maybe 15 really, really talented teams in the country, and then there's a lot of other people that are they're facing some of the issues that I face on a daily basis at this point.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch your team grow this year, and sometimes young guys can surprise you and come together and do some special things.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, we're very athletic, Phil. I mean, we can run and move, and we got there's a couple of guys in our lineup that for us to really get to the next level have got to become middle of the order hitter guys that can. That are really have a presence in the lineup, and they have the ability to do it. They, at this point, in their career, whether they're sophomores or juniors, have shown flashes of it, but never have been able to maintain it for the entire length of the season. So, hopefully, I mean, we're very optimistic. I don't want to seem pessimistic in this deal, but.
All right, Coach, hang on one second. We got to hit a quick break, and we'll come right back to you. Gary Gilmore. Back with Coastal Carolina baseball coach Gary Gilmore for a couple of more minutes as we come to you from Springs Brooks Stadium at Coastal Carolina, as well as back at our studios in Columbia where K-Mac is there. Pro is off tonight, still recovering from a virus. Hopefully he'll be back with us first part of next week. As we return to Coach Gilmore, I want you to go ahead and finish what you were saying as we hit the break. I'd asked you about youth of the team and young guys coming together and sometimes surprising you and doing some things that maybe, at least at the beginning of the season, you didn't think were possible.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, there's some very talented young men out there. It's just, having patience and, I worry more so about, them losing confidence if we're, not successful enough or whatever. But hopefully we'll be able to hold our own. I mean, we've shown moments where we've been very good, and we've shown moments already where we've been very bad. So, hopefully, the good part about the bad things are we can correct all of them. They're coaching things that we can work on and get better at. And, I do think the position player club has a chance to be really, really good. And, I think there's going to be, 7 or 8 arms that can really be competitive. And, hopefully we can ride those guys as the season gets going and gets on down the road and be ready to go into the latter part of our season as a team that's really gaining momentum and really growing up all together at one time. And, this program kind of turned around on a group like this, to be very honest with you. It was that 2001 team that came within a pitch of winning that Georgia Regional, and Keppinger hit that home run against us and kept us from going to Super Regional. And, we kind of program kind of took off from that point in time. And, I think, this team has a lot of those parts and a lot of that characteristics of those guys as well.
Let me ask you this quickly. You were very thoughtful in designing this park in that you created a space for your former players, your major league players, your professional players to come back, have their locker room. They can work out and work on their skills here at this place. And I'm wondering what have you heard from former players who've gotten a look at the new ballpark, either in person or on video or seen pictures? What's been the reaction of some of the guys toiled here all those years, and they kind of laid the groundwork for what you've got today?
Oh, it's the neatest part of the ballpark at this point in time is former players, supporters of the program that know a whole lot about it, all the ins and outs of the program that haven't been on the campus in a good while or whatever. Their first reaction is just priceless to see the facial gestures they have, Phil, when they see what the university has done with that ballpark. It's incredible. Our minor league and major league guys that come back, I mean, it's a great testament to them that they think enough of us and what went on here that they come back and get themselves ready for spring training. They have a lot of pride and share that pride with our current players, and that has gone on for years and years. And I wanted to have something for them that said thank you. You always have a home here. You're always a part of what we are at Coastal Baseball, and their response has been unbelievable. One of the first teams I ever coached, we have a kid in town tonight. He'll be here till tomorrow. I get to spend some time with him. Kid Jeremy Samadas, who hit a whole bunch of home runs for us way back. I think it was 96 or 97. One of my first 2 or 3 years here, and it's amazing. I mean, he hasn't been back on campus since he left and graduated, and just to see him, he walked in my office, and I mean, he was literally speechless. He said, never in my wildest dreams. I've seen the pictures, but none of them do it justice. And I think that's your greatest compliment to what's been done out there. You can look at all the pictures, but until you walk in there and see what it really looks like, you really don't get a feel for what all has been done.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful ballpark, and it's going to be even nicer once everything is complete. Good luck to you this weekend. We'll see you over the weekend at the ball games and talk to you, of course, throughout the season. But thanks for having us down here for another year of baseball at the beach. I've never missed I think I've missed one because of conflict. Outside of that, we've been here every year. So look forward to seeing you over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe you're the guy that brings the rain and the cold weather.
Well, I said that we've sweated here. We've been blown around. We've been rained on. I think this is the first time we've been frozen out.
Oh, there's no doubt. I tell you what, this has been, I'm sure for everyone in our area, it's been the coldest spring. I'm hoping, much as everybody will have been bottled up for the last 48 hours, that Saturday when the sun comes out and it's upper 50s and a bunch of people will like to get out of the ballpark and see us take on Georgia Tech and come watch these kids play, and then have a great opportunity on Sunday against NC State to do the same thing. So, Phil, we appreciate it. You've been a great supporter of college baseball, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend. Gary Gilmore, head coach of Coastal Carolina, will be back. Got some recruiting notes coming up. Again to Coach Gary Gilmore for being with us, Mike Kaywood for being with us here on Sports Talk. Busy second hour coming up. Mike Davis speaking at the NFL Combine today. Thinks he's going to be one of the first running backs taken in the draft. And he also talked about his reasons for leaving South Carolina early. We'll get some of that to you in the second hour. Bradley LeCroy, Clemson assistant baseball coach as well, will join us in the second hour. Right now, some recruiting. USC signee, offensive lineman Corey Helms, Alpharetta, Georgia, who's transferring from Wake Forest, hoping to avoid sitting out this season by appealing for relief from the NCAA. He said one of the main reasons for his transfer is to be closer to his home and to his ailing grandmother. Told us the appeal's in progress, and he said they're putting together the final stuff to send to the NCAA. He's been in touch with USC compliance, and they'll be sending stuff on to the NCAA. And he said compliance has told him there's definitely a shot to win the appeal, but there's no telling. In the meantime, he continues to work out so that he'll be ready for this season if he's able to play or not, getting a head start on 2016. Nebraska offered USC target linebacker Jonathan Jones from Orlando. USC and Clemson offensive lineman target Tyler Pritchett from Auburn, Alabama, was offered by Florida. Defensive back Savion Smith of Bradenton, Florida, a Clemson and USC target offered by Texas, will visit LSU this weekend. Clemson offered 2017 defensive end Malik Herring out of Forsyth, Georgia. And receiver Christian Bruce, who's 6'3", 180 from Wilson, had a great junior year, 72 catches, 1,476 yards, 18 touchdowns. His coach, Chad Eady, says he's Alshon Jeffrey-like. He's that kind of receiver. high points the ball really well, long strides, 36-inch vertical. Now, according to Edie, Bruce has offers from NC State, North Carolina, Virginia, and Charlotte, getting lukewarm interest from USC and Clemson, which is disappointing, the coach said, because the kid's mom wants him to stay in state. His mom went to USC and would love for him to stay in state. They've gotten very little contact from USC, but may go to the showcase camp this summer in an effort to open some eyes. Right now, NC State is showing the strongest interest and has a bit of an edge over the rest. They've been on him since his sophomore season. Went to a junior day there, the spring game last year, and has made 2 unofficial visits. So NC State, the coach said, probably has been his favorite. Wake Forest is also very interested. Bruce also wants to visit Virginia and might visit Tennessee and Ole Miss. He said Rebels coach Hugh Freeze wants to see Bruce in person before making the offer. All right, there you go with recruiting. Don't forget to check it out on our website regularly, sportstalksc.com, and also on Twitter. Use the hashtag STRecruiting to take you right to our recruiting stories. Top of the hour break, a busy hour number 2 coming up on this Thursday edition of Sports Talk. Stay warm, stay with us, and we'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk here on a Thursday night. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth at Coastal Carolina, Kevin McCrary, and the Steak Man, Graham Pope. Back at our studios in downtown Columbia. Coming up, Bradley LeCroy, Clemson assistant baseball coach. Going to catch up with him and talk about the Tigers after their opening series of the season. Got series number 2 coming up against Maine in Augusta, Georgia. Also coming up, some comments from USC running back Mike Davis from the NFL Combine today. And Mike's feeling pretty full of himself, talking along the lines of being one of the first running backs taken, K-Mac, if not the first running back taken in his mind.
Well, yeah, in his mind. All these players, they think they're going to go earlier than they go, but that's, not always what happens with them. Mike Davis is not going to be the first running back off the board. There's that other guy out of Georgia, although he is coming off a knee injury, Todd Gurley, although he had his own outlandish statement today. He said, I didn't come here to go anything other than number 1. I don't want to be number 2, number 5 in the second round. I came here to be the number 1 pick. That's not going to happen either.
Yeah. Had he not had the knee injury, well, I still think a quarterback, the teams that are picking first, the team who is picking first and right there, we'll be looking at a quarterback, I would think. So you got to believe Mariota or Winston, one of those two will go 1. Maybe they'll go 1-2, depending on what's going to happen with trades and movement up and down the line there when draft day gets closer. But running backs, as we've seen in recent years, have not been a top priority. However, I was listening to the NFL Network on the radio on my way down to the beach, just taking in some of their thoughts, and the 2 analysts who were talking, Jim Miller, the former quarterback, was one. They believe that the running game will be and is coming back into vogue in the NFL. He said, just look at the Cowboys. He said, look at the Seahawks. These are teams that have relied heavily on the running game, 2 teams in particular who've relied heavily on the running game for various reasons, injuries to the quarterback, whatever the case may be, and having great running backs, individual running backs themselves. And he believes that these guys were saying that they believe that the running back and the running game will become a bigger part of professional football, also pointing out that because defenses are playing more for the pass, running a lot of nickel regularly, it only makes sense to try and run the ball.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, but there's so many of them out there, like you said. And I don't think Mike Davis made the wrong call going pro. I second guessing that. There's just his stock's not going to go up. And I think running backs, they only get so many shots that they're going to take, before they start breaking down. The average lifespan of an NFL running back is usually 5 years before they really start deteriorating. So I don't blame him for getting out there and getting his at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to get it while you can, if you can. All right. We are going to hit a break and be back with Bradley LeCroy from Clemson Baseball in a moment. We are back at Sports Talk here on a Thursday night, talking a lot of baseball as we sit inside a dark Spring Brooks Stadium at Coastal Carolina. But there will be baseball here on Saturday, not tomorrow. It's going to be too cold tomorrow, so they're pushing things back to Saturday. Going to be so cold up in the Clemson area, they're moving their series with Maine over to Lake Olmsted Stadium in Augusta, Georgia. All 3 games going to be played on Friday and then 2 games on Saturday. Assistant Coach Bradley LeCroy joining us now here on Sports Talk. Coach, how are you? Hope you're staying warm.
I'm doing well, Phil. Thanks for asking. And it's tough out in these temperatures.
Yeah. Have y'all gotten any work done since the cold weather moved to the upstate?
We were able to. Tuesday was a wash a little bit with the weather, and then we were able to get outside a little bit yesterday on our turf field out back, get enough done, and today was just we hit a little bit in the cages. We're fortunate we got a great indoor football facility just right across the street from us, so we're able to go in there and get a lot of work done, when it's cold or it's raining or something like that. So we've got a good practice, good week of practice. Obviously we missed our game with Charleston Southern, and we rescheduled that for late in the season. So, we've got some work done this week.
Oh, good. Well, I know it was a disappointing start, losing the series to West Virginia 2-1, but, the sky's not falling in, and a lot of good teams took some losses in the opening weekend of the season. It's a long, long season, and I guess the key for you guys is to go to Augusta, win this series against Maine, get a little momentum going, and just show some overall improvement from last week.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're disappointed in the outcome of the weekend. You got to give credit to West Virginia. They were a solid club. They came in ready to play. There were some good points. Good part of the weekend for us is our starting pitching was really good. We played pretty good defense. We swung the bats okay at times. The biggest thing is we just didn't hit with runners in scoring position. We had numerous opportunities to drive guys in early in the game, and we didn't in Friday and Sunday's game, and we just didn't come through. And when that happens, you're not going to win a lot of ball games. So it's one thing that we talked about and worked on this week during practice. But we have a ton of confidence in our guys and what they're capable of doing. So it's like you said, it's 3 games, and we go out and play well this weekend and get some W's, and we'll be feeling a lot better about ourselves come Monday.
Now, last year you guys were plagued by that same problem, hitting in the clutch, hitting with runners in scoring position. Do you foresee the same kind of problem extending through this season, or do you see some ways to change that so it doesn't permeate through the year?
No, I don't see it being an issue for us this year. One guy we have a ton of confidence in, Chris Oakey, who led us in RBIs last year. He came up this past weekend in numerous opportunities to drive guys in with 2 outs and things like that. And bottom line is he didn't come through. But we know Chris Oakey's going to be there every day, and we're not panicking that he's not going to get it done this year. A couple other situations were guys that were new to the lineup, a freshman, and then another guy who is just starting to really play this year. So it was open weekend for them. They had some jitters, I'm sure, some butterflies. So I think it's something that will get better throughout the season. And we talked a lot about the mindset and mentality of when you're in those situations this week. And I'm fully confident that we're going to be able to, get better at that. And it starts with this weekend against Maine.
Talking with Bradley LeCroy, Clemson assistant baseball coach. Tigers playing 3 against Maine in Augusta. Tyler Krieger, DHing going into tomorrow's game. How is he coming along health-wise with his, I think it was his shoulder that kept him out of the shortstop spot? Is he going to be able to play some shortstop coming up this in the games ahead?
No, I don't think so this weekend. His arm's progressing really well. He's out of the throwing program now. So now it's kind of when he feels comfortable, we feel comfortable, and the doctors feel comfortable that he can make, the plays he's supposed to play in the game, making the game. And it's there. It's getting better. I would say it's probably 2 to 3 weeks still away. I mean, I think if he's ready to go for conference weekend, first conference weekend against NC State, I think that maybe can happen. The one thing we run into is those injuries. With this cold weather, it's a lot tougher to get that thing loose and stay loose. It was a labrum and rotator cuff surgery. So the key is keeping it flexible, breaking the scar tissue and that kind of stuff. And with the cold weather, it really tightens up on him quick. So it'd be tough for him probably to get out there this weekend. So he's continuing to work at it, doing a great job for us in the DH role. But we'll be glad to get him back in the field, whether that's second base or shortstop, because that'll open up a spot for us at DH, and then we can move Chase Pender, who's normally an outfielder, who's playing second base for us. We can move him back out to his natural position out in the outfield.
Mm-hmm. And you feel good about Eli White at short? I know he's played a lot of the position for you early in his career. Yeah,
he's very, very good defensively. And was okay last weekend offensively, but he's come a long way in the year and a half he's been with us, at the plate, and he can really, really change the game defensively because he can make the plays, and he can help the pitchers out in certain situations with some of the plays he can make. So we're very confident in what Eli can do for us. And then once TK gets back, it just depends. It might be a case where the arm, allows him to play second base early in the season, and then we'll see how it goes. If it keeps progressing, then maybe we flip him, and TK goes to short, and Eli goes back to second. So we'll just have to see when that happens.
How did y'all end up going to Augusta for this series at Lake Olmsted Stadium? What was the process for deciding where to go and how to find a place to play?
Well, it's crazy. We started looking at the weather on Monday, and it looked awful. Monday it looked, really cold, and then we had 50% chance on Friday, 80% chance on Saturday, 100% on Sunday. So we were thinking of alternate locations possibly. And we just looked, and 2 hours down the road in Augusta, even earlier in the week, the temperatures were 15 to 20 degrees different. Precipitation was really low. We heard about a lot of schools in North Carolina. We started getting calls on Tuesday from schools in North Carolina and the Mid-Atlantic on Tuesday that there was no way they were going to be able to play at home. So we figured we need to get on the phone and call down there and kind of reserve that stadium before somebody else took it. And Augusta State, which is Georgia region now, the head coach there is Jason Eller, who's a good friend of mine, and they play their home games there. So I got on the phone and called him, and we talked to the Coach Leggett, and our administration has talked to the GM of the Green Jackets, and we're very fortunate that we're able to work this in and hold that spot for us. So it's crazy. I think we counted up today. There's over 40 schools that have either canceled or moved their games to a different location because of this weather.
Yeah, and I'm at a spot where that's the case because all the games for the first day of baseball at the beach here at Coastal have been pushed back to Saturday. So they're kind of scrambling to get all those games in on Saturday and Sunday. Well, best of luck to you. I know you're going to have a busy time with a game on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday. Good luck. See if the Tigers can get some momentum going because we all know what's coming up. You got one game midweek next week, and then the big showdown with South Carolina. It's right around the corner.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you having me on, Phil, and stay warm down there at the beach.
You got it, my man. Thanks for visiting with us. Mike Kaywood says hello to you.
Okay, tell Kaywood I said hello.
You got it, man. Thank you. Bradley LeCroy, assistant coach at Clemson. He knows Mike Kaywood from their days at, from Western Carolina when Bradley was at Western Carolina, and they're friends, so I was passing along a little message there. And so the Tigers go to Augusta, and their starting rotation will be the same as last weekend. And it was quite good last weekend. Matthew Crownover on Friday has not allowed an earned run. Zach Irwin with a 1.5. He's got the one win for them. And Brody Kerner with a 2.25 ERA. The Tigers will face two right-handers and a lefty from Maine. Back in a moment. Thanks again to Bradley LaCroix for being with us here on Sports Talk tonight. K-Mac, I found an interesting story, at least interesting to me, and if it's interesting to me, it'll be interesting to you and interesting to our listeners because I'm kind of the judge of what's interesting here on Sports Talk. Our buddy David Hood wrote an article on TigerNet this morning using some quotes from Thad Turnipseed, who oversees Clemson's football recruiting. The quotes came from their signing day press conference, but I hadn't seen these quotes. But it's interesting. It kind of gives you an insight on how Clemson football perceives itself nationally in recruiting. And he quotes Turnipseed as saying the following: "It's easy to sell the paw. The paw is powerful, and nationally the paw is recognized. Everybody wants to be a part of it. The culture in place here that Sweeney has put in place here over the years here recruits itself for the Clemson type of player that we want. The good kid. Academics mean a lot, and character means a lot. Those kids come here to see the culture, and it recruits itself at this point." He continued by saying, "I have 7 guys who follow all of these guys on social media, and they can tell me what they are saying, and I can tell Jeff Scott, here is what they are saying, and we can tell if they are a Clemson fit. Everybody on that board can play, but how many are Clemson people? That is what we do. We help define through social media, and when they are on campus and here on recruiting visits and game day, we gather on Monday and we say, hey, what is this guy like? Is he talkative? Did he say the right things? Is he somebody that might belong here? So even though on the board I might have him at a 10 athletically, I might have him just the opposite character." And Coach Sweeney really puts a lot of emphasis on that Clemson character. That is why we tell our kids to be careful what they put out there. It's all out there forever, and the NFL people go back and look at what you said in high school. It plays a large part in determining if someone is a Clemson guy. My role, and what we do here, is play by the rules better than anybody in the country. It's illegal for my department to evaluate talent. It's not my job to say this guy is a good player. My job is to say, hey, coaches, this is who you want. That's from Thad Turnipseed. Pretty interesting stuff. Gives you some idea of how they feel about the Clemson brand right now.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, their brand, and it is true. I mean, people know the Tiger Paw. I mean, you talk to college coaches and you talk to high school coaches, and Clemson had that Tiger Paw was a brilliant move on their part. They have something that's very unique, and when a coach walks in with that on his his shirt or his sweatshirt or his hat, people know that that's a guy from Clemson. But, you know, I don't think that's just lip service either, Corn. I mean, we cover both teams. I mean, Clemson really does recruit a certain type of personality. I mean, they year in and year out under Dabo Sweeney, they've had a certain type of personality.
Yes, they have, except for a couple of occasions where a player has gotten out of line. It's been pretty calm over there. We'll be right back. More Sports Talk coming up. Well, I guess it's important, the NFL Combine. I still don't understand. You know, you watch a guy go through his football career in college as an NFL scout. You watch him from his freshman year, sophomore year, maybe his junior year, and maybe he goes back for his senior year. You get you can have 4 years of video watching a guy in college. You can watch his practices. You can watch him in the All-Star games. But for some rhyme or reason, K-Mac, the NFL Combine, it's like guys can make or break their draft chances in one day and wipe out all the good that they did in 3 or 4 years in college. Makes no sense to me, but that's kind of what it's become. And, you know, it's let's face it, it's become after the season, and I guess prior to free agent signing and the draft itself, it's become the second big thing for the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they do it. It can work both ways. Some guys that have had very pedestrian college careers, you know they're going to be a combine guy, and they blow it up in the combine, and some team goes, you know what, we can turn this guy. He's got all the intangibles. We can make him a football player. You know, I don't think if you can play the game and you've done it on the field for 4 years, I think the combine, no matter what you do there, you're going to get a chance and you're going to be successful. But they have a formula. These guys, these teams are investing millions of dollars. It's an inexact science. You know the teams that are better at it than others. I mean, you just look at them. I mean, there's a reason why the New England Patriots win and win consistently year after year. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you look at the teams that are always up there year after year after year. They have stability in their front office and coaching staffs, and they know how to evaluate and scout players.
That's true. That's true. The thing that just gets me, though, is the emphasis that's put on the combine. And, you know, if a guy answers questions wrong, or, you know, if he's not as strong as they think, not as tall as they thought, not as fast as they thought, those are all negatives. Yet, you know, in life, in action on the field, you see where the guy was a standout in college, yet they hold these marks from the combine against him, might drop him several spots or a couple of rounds, whatever the case may be. I just have always, to me, it would seem to me that the greatest evidence in judging a player is how he plays the game in a real game on the field under pressure and in front of 80,000 people, not how fast he runs the 40, but I know a lot of it's blown up by the media and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we've got a lot of Gamecocks and Tigers there, and in fact, there's a player from a funny story. Mike Haywood was telling me, the offensive lineman from Coastal Carolina who was at the Combine had no intentions on going. In fact, he was about ready to retire from football. I think his name is Joey Chatwood, I believe. Mm-hmm. Joey Chatwood, big tackle. He's getting married and all this kind of stuff, and he was ready to hang it up, and all of a sudden he found out that he'd been invited to the Combine. And so he decided to give it a shot and see if he can impress somebody and maybe get a chance to get to an NFL camp. Mike Davis, of course, hopes to do the same, build on his career at South Carolina. And he met with the media today. Today was the day that I think the quarterbacks and running backs came through and met with the media. And here he is talking about his junior year at South Carolina and, of course, looking ahead to what he might do at the Combine.
I think my junior season went well. You know, despite all the injuries, you know, I think some of the coaches understood that from me playing through it. So actually, you know, it's been great down here to see that, you know, coaches understand what I've been through.
Is that the feedback you're getting?
I'm getting great feedback. You know, I see a lot of people, you know, say, you know, crazy things about me, but, you know, I have to take, you know, what I can get and run with it.
How much did the size of this running back class impact your decision to come out, if at all? Did you factor that in?
No, it didn't affect my decision at all. My decision was based off, you know, my mom struggling. I just had to get her in a better living.
You were pretty convinced when you started school that it was kind of a 3-year plan for you. Is that right?
No, I wouldn't say that, but I would say, you know, my thing first was to get my degree in sociology. That's something I finish off my year, but something I plan on coming back and get.
What are your goals here?
My goals here is, you know, to run good, test good, measure good. Weigh in the day at 217. My height was 5'9". So, you know, I actually think I started off today pretty good.
What did you play at last year?
Last year I played about 223, 225.
Is this a better weight for you? Can you tell much difference?
I can tell a lot difference coming from 223 to 217. It's a major difference.
Where'd you work out?
Where did I work out at?
Yeah,
I worked
where'd you
out
prep for the combine?
Pensacola, Exos.
What advice, if any, did you get from your brother?
My brothers have really been giving me advice like that. Other than that, he's just telling me to, tune everything out. And, just work hard and do the things you've been told.
Where do you think you'll be picked?
I don't know, man. In my mind, I hope I'm the first running back taken. I feel like I'm the best running back in this draft. That's my opinion. I'm going to always have that opinion.
Which Carolina guys that are in the pros now have you been in touch with and leading up?
I talked to Swearinger a little bit before the combine. I've always been in touch with, like A. Sanders, Bruce Ellington, those guys.
I don't think you played with him, but have you had any contact or relationship with Melvin Ingram?
No, I haven't had any contact with Melvin Ingram. I also talked with Marcus Lattimore too. I forgot to say that. But I haven't talked to Melvin Ingram.
What did Marcus say to you?
Marcus just tells me, to keep my head on straight, do the right things. Basically, just be me. Everything will fall into place.
And then last thing, what do you know about the Chargers organization?
I know Melvin Ingram's there. I know Ryan Matthews is there as well. So, of course, I look there a lot. LT was my favorite running back. So, I say I pay attention to San Diego.
You also engaged up
as far as team-wise,
while you're here.
I say I probably spoken with everyone yesterday. Downstairs in the meeting room, just bouncing around, talking to teams and all the running back coaches.
What are the main things they're grilling you?
Nothing really. They just tell me, they like my tape and see that I run hard and I have great vision, quick feet, and I really haven't gotten any negative feedback. All good feedback.
What do you think you'll run here? Are you going to run here?
I'm going to run here, but I don't know. I guess we're just going to see when I run.
Is that a strength of yours, do you think, or do you think you're not necessarily a guy who's going to go run a 4.3, but you get it done in other ways?
I don't really honestly think like the 40 predicts what type of player that a person is going to be. So I don't put that in mind that if I run fast, I'm going to be a better athlete.
It would be nice to win the Porsche.
That'd be great to win a Porsche. I wouldn't decline that. It'd be great to win a Porsche.
Mike, what do you want to accomplish here in Indianapolis this week?
I just want to, show the coaches, my face and talk to them and, do well in interviews and impress the coaches and let them know why I want to be on the team. Actually do think I have the ability to play all 3 downs. Talking to, the most coaches say I do have the ability with the way I run and catch and able to stick my nose in for blocks.
All right, there you go. So Mike Davis from the NFL Combine today, courtesy of GoGamecocks.com. Josh Kendall there covering that for Go Gamecocks and the state newspaper. So came back. Mike's always been a confident guy. He came to South Carolina with a confident attitude, never really wavered from that, and he's going to carry that on into his pro career.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got talent. I think he can be a solid running back. He had a little bit of a down season compared to a sophomore season. He had a breakout year, a sophomore year, and never really got it going the same way this year. And, there were times that Brandon Wiles looked like the better running back of the two during the season this year. So, but he's got all the skills there, and he's got the burst. He's strong. He's a lot like his brother. He's kind of like a Cadillac version of James Davis.
Yeah, I'll be real interested to see, though, the combination of Wiles and David Williams. I think that can be a very successful twosome with Sean Carson mixed in as well. But I think David Williams, given a chance, can be an explosive running back for South Carolina. And the knock on Brandon Wiles has been that he can't stay healthy. He gets nicked up a lot and ends up missing a lot of snaps. So if they can keep him healthy, they should be pretty lethal at running back. Over at the basketball game here, Coastal leading Campbell 33-19, 5.5 playoff.
think the weather's going to cooperate with us and get 3 games in.
Couple of other basketball scores. The Citadel is leading Furman late in the half, 25-20 up in Greenville. And in Spartanburg, this is a surprise. Greensboro by 10 over Wofford, 35-25. Second straight home game for the Terriers where the offense has not clicked. I was at the last one. They did win over the weekend at Western Carolina, and they're securely in first place in the SoCon, but they are trailing a 9-19 team. Wofford is 21-6, has an RPI of 40 this week, and they're trailing a team with 9 wins by 10 at the break. We'll see if they can get it going in the second half. Coastal continues to lead Campbell 39-19, under 3 minutes to play in the first half. USC baseball tomorrow. 2 games. What does it came out? 2 games on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Is that what we got?
That's the plan.
All right, and you were over there to chat with Chad today.
Yeah, Chad Holbrook previewing the matchup against Northeastern.
I think the weather's going to cooperate with us and get 3 games in this weekend. We're excited about playing Northeastern. It's an opportunity to get on the field and get better, and we know that Northeastern is going to present a challenge for us. They're well coached. They got a lot of their pitchers back from a year ago. These guys went to Charleston last year and beat the College of Charleston 2 out of 3. So, and we know how good the College of Charleston is. So we're going to have to play well, and it's a great challenge for us. Like I said, their pitchers are older, experienced, have good numbers. They're coming off a weekend in which they won 2 out of 3 to open the season, and I'm sure they're going to be excited about playing us. And we got to continue to improve and get better. Get ready for the challenges that lie ahead, and we're thankful that Northeastern braved their brutal winter and got on a plane and can get down here and us get in 3 games.
You knew coming in this year you're looking for more power, because you lost some power from last year. But having Alex being able to step in and kind of maybe be able to deliver that, and he showed a flash of that last week. I mean, expectations are high for him. What's your sense on what he can bring to your lineup throughout the season?
Well, I'm hoping that he's going to bring some punch and some extra base hits and some home runs and some power numbers. I like Alex in there. I think that with Max and Alex and Kyle Martin, those 3 pretty formidable hitters, and we need to get those guys going the type of offense team that we need to be. Alex is a key part to us being a good offensive team. I hate to put that on a freshman, but he needs to do well for us to have the type of offensive team that we want to have and need to have. But he's a threat. He can provide protection for Kyle Martin and Max, depending on how we do it in the lineup. And anytime you have a guy in there that any swing of the bat can hit the ball out of the park to any field. His power is not limited to pull side power. He's got power to center. He's got power to left. And the more and more bats he gets, I think the more and more he'll improve and get comfortable, and you'll even see better results. I got a lot of confidence in him. Big, strong kid that he's got as much raw power as anybody we have on our team.
And from he was your most probably highly rated recruit in terms of the rankings and pro potential, that sort of thing. How has he handled that? Somebody who was maybe counted on and making that leap to start right away.
I think Alex is enjoying himself. I don't see any. I think he's a little bit nervous opening weekend, but I don't see him putting any pressure on himself. I think he's adjusted well, and he's gotten comfortable around his teammates. I think his teammates have a lot of respect for him. That's made him even feel a little bit better. I think his teammates know that he's pretty darn good. He doesn't really have to worry about making an impression on his teammates. He's already done that, and now he just wants to get off to a good start and help our team win. He said all the right things to me. He's carried himself the right way. I don't sense that he's trying to do too much. Those are things I look for in a freshman, and I think he's wise beyond his years, and I think he's an important part of our team. Both from a position standpoint and a position player standpoint. But I think the thing that stands out is he's a true freshman that's going to hit in the middle of our line, and we got some veteran guys in there. So obviously we think.
All right, Chad Holbrook from earlier today. K-Mac, did he say his pitching plans would be as they were last weekend? Of course, there was some question as to whether or not he might move Crow into Friday or into that first game and Wynkoop into game 2. What's he going to do?
Yeah, he had. In fact, this afternoon he wasn't sure, but I saw them tweet, and they are going to keep the rotation the same. And he said that was probably what they're going to do, that they can't start flipping those guys after one has a better outing than the other. They have to stick with it, and it's a small sample size. I think they want to see how it goes for now and go from there. So it'll be the same rotation this weekend.
All right. Well, you know what's coming up, that USC-Clemson series not far away. These teams trying to get their stuff together and get ready for that big showdown. Back to wrap it up in a moment. Okay, let's give you some final numbers to wrap things up tonight at halftime. Coastal on its way to win number 20 on the season. Cliff Ellis getting it done again. 47-23 over Campbell. Josh Cameron, 15. Elijah Wilson, 15, to lead the Chanticleers right now. They indeed will be a factor in their tournament, which will be right here on their campus in about a week and a half, I think, maybe a couple of weeks. They will be a tough out at home, but Coastal Carolina, Charleston Southern, Winthrop will be a factor. High Point, very, very good. All those teams are going to be in the hunt for the Big South championship and the automatic bid to the tournament. Halftime, Citadel leads Furman 26-23. And still at the half, Greensboro over Wofford 35-25. Not much going on baseball-wise. Nationally, Oregon State beat number 19, Oklahoma State 5-3. One ACC team playing tonight, Notre Dame leading Incarnate Word 8-1. They're playing that game in San Antonio. No SEC teams are playing today. Well, I take that back. Missouri and Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they're tied at 1. Kentucky plays Southern Cal later on. And there's one SEC basketball game tonight. It is a 9 o'clock game, and it is going to be
Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Thank you. Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Ole Miss 8-4, 17-8. Mississippi State 12-13, 5-7, but showing some improvement under Rick Ray this year at Mississippi State. And that game's in Starkville.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Ole Miss at Mississippi State. You know what? Bulldogs might have a decent chance to pull that thing off. South Carolina at home Saturday at noon against Texas A&M. A&M with a win earlier this week over LSU. And let's see, that would make let me just double check something here. All right, that makes them 9-4 in league play, 18-7 overall. Another tough one coming up for the Gamecocks, K-Mac, but at home, if they can manage to win this game, get them to 5-9 in league play, a chance to have a better league record in the regular season than they had last year. Now, you have to remember they won a couple of games in the SEC tournament, but that's something to build on.
Definitely. It's going to be tough for them, though, Saturday without those two players, Henry and mainly Henry. I mean, he gives them that depth, but Shepard was starting to come on a little bit, too. We'll see if Mackey's back. We'll see if Stroman's back at that for that matchup. So, big one for the Gamecocks, certainly.
Well, everybody have a nice warm night. Stay as warm as you can, and we will reconvene tomorrow night from here at the beach. We make the move over to the Coaches Clinic tomorrow night at the Crown Reef Resort. We'll be there with high school football coaches and college coaches. We'll bring it all to you on Sports Talk, plus the latest in basketball, baseball as well. Thank you, K-Mac. Thank you, Steak Man. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.